Yeah. Whoa, that was quite an afternoon. Quite an afternoon. You know, I don't know what to say really, other than got tremendous respect for, as we talked about leading into this, for that team. You know, I have tremendous respect for that program. Goodness gracious, and you know, Tom's a guy that I have, in a lot of ways, looked at and admired and tried to learn from, and try to take a lot of program stuff from. He doesn't know that, but that's the case. So got just a ton of respect for him, and I think we probably caught them on a rough night in terms of shooting the ball. But I was really happy for our guys. You know, I told them, when you coach for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is to see our older guys enjoy a moment like that. It's genuinely a big reason why we get into coaching, to see Kata and Jay Sean and Cam and those guys embracing this moment and smiling, and even, you know, a guy like Andrew being a part of a team now and playing and really being a part of a team, and all those things. It was so rewarding to see those guys celebrate and enjoy this moment. You know, the challenge for us now moving forward would be how do we respond with a really good Maryland team. But we'll enjoy this one today here. I can't say enough about the crowd. The energy was outstanding. Obviously, to be expected, we played an incredible team and incredible program. But wow, they really lifted us and lifted our guys.
Chris, you've talked about not overanalyzing specific moments or specific games or stretches, but to sit here and you just beat the #1 team, won 7 of 8. How does it just feel right now to know that this is the position that you're in? You just had a win, like we talked about the possibility yesterday. But what does this feel like for you to be at this position 16 games into your first year?
It's a little surreal, I think, at times, for sure. You know, I think you go into the year not sure what to expect. Very rarely do you have a chance to even play a #1 team in the country on your home floor. And again, as I said, that's a credit to Michigan State. So to have that opportunity, it doesn't come up a whole lot. And this is a moment that our fans and our players will remember for a long time. I think they will, you know, and they'll take parts and pieces of it. So, you know, it feels really good. But I think as a coach, I hate to say it, it's going to sound, you know, Belichickian, but we really are going to try to move as quickly as possible on to the next thing.
And the run that you closed the first half with, I think it was like 8 or 10-0 in the last 45 seconds. How much did that change the complexion of the game, and how hard was it to then hold on to that once you go in the second half?
That really was a critical stretch. It was, you know, all things kind of went in our favor at that point, with a foul on I think we had at one point, well, we had a couple threes there, a couple transition looks, the half-court shot, the technical free throws, all that kind of played into it, and it broke open what was a really close game. And then I think coming out, we kind of traded baskets to open the second half. I've not been real pleased with our opening second half defensive approach. Again, I thought it was just okay tonight, to be real honest with you. But we were able to score enough to keep them at bay. We knew they'd make a run. They did make a run, and I think Kata and JT got a basket in that stretch where they cut it to, I think, 8 or so.
Chris, a handful of times this year we've come in here post game, and you know, even in wins, you've kind of focused on some things that you weren't happy with and whatnot. What's going through your head right now? I mean, this is your team and whatnot. So
yeah.
You know, what's in your mind right now? I'm curious.
Just really happy and proud of our guys, and really happy for them. You know, just really, I just can't say that enough. You know, we all know that have been a part of this program, right, for the last couple of years. We've had some tough stuff we've had to deal with. Players have had some tough stuff. So to see them celebrate and enjoy it, I just feel really happy for them. You know. You know, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a win like this last year. They just don't come around too often. So I'm really happy for our coaches, but most importantly, our players.
Chris, on the timeline of this program, you came here, you knew what you had. Where is it right now? Is this ahead of schedule? I know coaches don't get surprised. Are you surprised with where you are, what you've been able to accomplish? Is it about where you?
No, I'm surprised. Yeah, coaches get surprised. I got surprised. I'm surprised.
And what particular?
I just, I think, it's, and we'll see, right? We don't know at this point. We could go in the tank here for the next couple weeks. We certainly don't want this moment to define us, and we don't want it to be the pinnacle of our season, as good as it is, and that's the challenge for us moving forward. I watch on video, and I am so impressed with a lot of the teams that we're going to compete against here, and we're going to play really well. But certainly am surprised with how we have played in stretches, and I think our connection and our chemistry has been above and beyond what I maybe anticipated. And you never know as a coach what's the buy-in going to be, right? Like, you just don't know that. And our players deserve a ton of credit because we got here as a coaching staff in June, and we haven't necessarily, we're not tyrants, but we haven't coached them with kid gloves either, and they've accepted and embraced that.
Coach Jay Sean said, in years past there's been times when his team has gotten up by 20 on good teams and they folded. He said the mantra throughout this game was don't fold. How important obviously with their stats, they're important, but how important have Jay Sean and Kate have been in games with just the way they've handled themselves and their energy, I guess?
They're the reason. I think they're the reason. You look at the teams that Texas Southern cut it to 2, Miami cut it to a basket. They're the reason that we've been able to pull those games out and finish those games. And as a coach, you're trying to prepare your guys as well as you can prepare them. But at the end of the day, when the game gets tight and it's close, players win games. And it's about when Michigan State made a run, it was like, okay, somebody's going to step up and make a play, and those guys both did that. It doesn't always have to be an offensive play; it could be a defensive play. In a lot of ways, that's happened for us this year. I've been really pleased because we lost a lead this year, and I think we've learned from that. Doesn't mean that we're not going to lose the lead again at some point, but I think we've learned you got to keep playing. You have to finish the game. You have to get stops and scores, and there's a level of aggressiveness that's required in those moments.
Chris, are you going to have to change your approach at all to how you coach your team after this? You're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. That's not to say that maybe you had it in the past, but what the preseason expectations were, and they were going to change now. So does that change your approach to how you coach?
I think it's probably something to be, and we're only 4 games in, right, of a 18-game league schedule, so there's so much to be played left. And I do think that, you look around college basketball, it's hard to win on the road. So while this is an incredible win, there's a lot of teams in college basketball that are in the top 5 or top 10 that can lose on the road to an opposing team. I don't think anybody's ready to crown or give us anything. We will remind our guys that the importance of a mature, growth-minded approach is kind of, as boring as that sounds, that's going to be required. Certainly when you have a win like this, it does maybe alert more people, teams in your league. And listen, if we're not good enough to handle that, then we'll find out.
And then maybe it's another question that's too early to ask at this point, but I think people were curious to see what Kada could be when he just finally got healthy. Mm-hmm. Are you at all at the point where you're like, man, Kada's really good, and then you're like, oh man, maybe he's too good and he won't be here?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, those thoughts go through all of our minds, right? I think we've been having those thoughts for a little while. I think he and his family want to put that right out, and we even talked before the season. They want to put that to the side and not worry about it right now. you get in this business for kids to reach their dreams. You really do. So if that happens and he's got an opportunity like that, I'm going to be so happy for him and his family. So happy. There's so much left to be played. There's a lot left for us to prove. He's just got to be Cada, and whatever comes out of that comes out of that. But certainly that's a more and more real possibility. If that were to happen, we'd be really happy. But we got so much left to kind of learn when it comes to that situation.
Chris, you obviously have a ton of basketball left to be played, but with what you've seen so far, is it realistic that 10 weeks from now that Ohio State could be a tournament team?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I think I think we're all aware, kind of going in, what the questions were and the prognostications were. I just think we've got a lot we've got to continue to prove. I don't think that certainly right now we can't rest on our laurels. That's for sure, because we won't be playing in any postseason if we do. If we get complacent and we relax, we won't. So I think we've got to continue to go out and earn. The one thing I've learned about that, and when I was at Butler the 3 years, 1 year we were on the bubble, and at the end of the day, what you're saying is, hey, listen, you're going to get what you earn. In most cases, you're going to get what you earn. Like, if we're good enough and we grow and we get good enough, we'll get what we earn. Who knows? It's so early to tell at this point. But it's not like it. The reality is, right, every kid would love to play in that thing because it's the best athletic event in the world, I think.
Chris, you were asked yesterday about, you said you would watch that game, you think you would watch that game in 2005.
Yeah.
And it's your first year, it's Thad's first year. I just wondered, do you text back and forth with him at all, or maybe you'll get a text from him today saying something?
I will probably call him this week, because I think Thad and his coaching staff, and I want to make very clear on this, and I want to make sure that this is said and spoken and tweeted, and Thad and his coaching staff deserve a ton of credit for recruiting a young man like Cada Bates-Diop and Jay Sean Tate, and Cam Williams is really coming into his own. But people ask me all the time what makes guys like Cada and JT good players, and I say, first of all, they're exceptional people, and Thad and his Coach Mon and his staff deserve a ton of credit for recruiting those kind of people, because they've embraced a new coaching staff, and they've done it the right way. And Cada and I shared a moment there right before he was going to go on with CBS, and it was a special thing to see him embrace and feel about this moment like he did. And hopefully we can work together and create some more moments. But
what was he doing?
He just basically talked about how special the moment was. I just gave him a hug, and I couldn't hear it exactly, but it was basically, he said something to the effect of this being, one of the most special moments, he's been a part of. So it's great, but I just, Thad and the staff deserve a lot of credit for that.
Chris, when you were brought in here, obviously it was the overall goal at some point to get to the level that Thad had this program. I'm curious how much you understood that when you got the job, and now a moment like this, seeing the reaction, if you maybe understand it to a different degree.
No, because I think I just I understand what a moment like this can mean for our university, and when a program like ours is being successful, how much pride our fan base takes in it. But we've got a long ways to go. You look at our recruiting with our young classes, and moving forward, like we've got a long ways to go to be near that level, or to even put ourselves in that discussion. And when I think years, I think we've got work to do in years. But I think a moment like this, if you're saying, hey, this gives you a glimpse as to what this place can feel about a moment like this, sure. And I'm really, it's great because it's really good for our university.
Yeah, Coach, I want to ask you about the stretch there right before halftime. It was 29-29. You withstood their early thing, your trading baskets, and now your defense, I think, seemed really fueled what happened. You got Caden out of steal, and then your connectivity. Dockage to Cada, Dockage to Tate, and then Tate to Cam for the three-pointer as well. Just that whole stretch, it just seemed like that was maybe the best example of team basketball, offensively and defensively, that you could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We couldn't have asked for, as a coaching staff, really for a better stretch of play than that one.
Does everything stem out of your defense in that stretch there?
Yeah. Our ability to, we did some post trapping, which allowed us to get a couple steals. Cada's activity with that. You know, when Andrew goes in the game, the ball moves. The ball moves. Now, he scares me at times, well, more than a couple times, but the ball moves with him. He's such a willing passer. He needs to be ready to shoot as well, but I think, you know, one of the reasons a guy like Andrew has been important for this team is he is a connector out there in a lot of ways. And you hear him all the time, right? You see him chirping. He really does connect people. And I think that maturity has really helped our group. But, yeah, that was a fantastic stretch for us, and I couldn't have asked for a better stretch.
Coach, JT was up there talking about belief this week, having belief that they could do this. And you knew there was going to be a run, but it seemed like they turned that belief into a fearlessness at the end there. And is that an apt description? Is that how you saw it? And how does that make you feel for what you've done with this program, with the players, to sort of see that in them?
I hope so. I hope we played fearless. You know, I really believe as a coach, if you prepare well and your approach is good, you know, we really do want our guys to play fearless on game day, particularly with, you know, when you're playing a team of this caliber. But really when you're playing anybody. You know, we talk about always embracing the moment, whether we're playing Texas Southern and they cut it to 2 or Michigan State, embrace it and play with an aggressiveness and fearlessness.
Chris, last weekend 4 of the top 10 teams in the country lost. This weekend 4 of the top 5 just lost. Is that the nature of this season? And if so, why is that the nature?
I think it's the nature of college basketball. I really do. I think that I would not read much into any of those outcomes, including this one, really. I don't think you can. It's hard to win on the road. When you have that kind of number by your name, man, you get a different look from teams. So I really don't. You know, I think most coaches right now are about, hey, getting your guys better, and then sometimes coaches look at it and say, hey, you know, we probably need to learn from an experience like this. But I don't think you can read too much. I just think it's the nature of college basketball right now, and I think we're going to continue to see it more and more.
Coach, not many people at the beginning of the season gave you guys a chance to even make the NCAA tournament. You just beat the #1 team in the country. You're tied for first place in the Big Ten. How realistic is it that this, I know it's a long season, as you said, but how realistic is it that this team could end up being Big Ten champions at the end of the season?
Well, I'm not ready to go any further than 4-0 right now. Yeah, we're going to prepare as well as we can for Maryland. There's 12, how many more games? 14 more games left in Big Ten play. So I understand why you ask it, but I think that's, you know, I haven't even honestly thought that. Hopefully we can prepare well and practice on Tuesday for Maryland.
So you've answered every question you can answer about this, Chris. Just to double check, I'm going with Ohio State basketball is back. Is that cool with you?
Well, is anything I say going to stop you?
No.
Okay.
You're back, baby.
Yeah. You know, I think that we'll see. We'll see. I think that, as you guys know, we've had some tough losses and been humbled at times this year. It's probably not what my headline would be in my house, but you guys are much better at your job. So I think we'll see. I'm really curious to see how we respond in these next couple games. to be honest with you. I really am. We'll see. We'll see what kind of maturity we have, and you know, if we can, you know, some teams are good matchups for you. That might have been part of what went in today. I think there is a reality that some teams, and I don't want to get real in the weeds here, but there are some teams that are good matchups for you. And then there are other teams that are a tough matchup for us. Clemson was a very tough matchup for us for a couple reasons. So the key is when you're a really good team, you can beat teams that have different styles that present challenges for you. And I think you got a long ways to go when it comes to that.
Okay.
Good one.
Just wondering how CJ is. Looked like
Yeah,
he's out there. What happened?
cramped up and got really bad cramps. I could see, I knew right away what it was. Couldn't move. So, you know, he played really hard and handled the ball a lot and got a lot of pressure. And so he's done a fantastic job for us. But he'll be fine. He just needed to get well. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.